Hi. So in the last class, we have seen two types of stationary, one stationary process and one process. The basic stationary process, which is white noise, and which is defined as an uncorrelated constant variance and zero mean process, it as white noise. Now, this is the basic stationary process. And the question is that, of course, we have seen a non-stationary process, random walk, and then we have discussed some applications of this as well. So in today's lecture, we are going to see, can we generalize this white noise process or to get more stationary, different types of stationary processes. So one of them is moving average. So moving average is basically you're taking kind of an average. We have seen that in the exploratory analysis, moving average means we take the average of certain observations at certain time points. Like if a 3 point moving average, we take the average of three numbers and then leave one of them, go for the next average of three. Now this, we have also seen that you can generalize it by calling by the name filter, by changing the average, because when you say average, the weight is constant, the weights are constant and they're same. Now you can go for a general linear combination, AI ZT minus I, and then talk about the weighted, maybe you can call it as weighted linear combinations or filter. So in today's lecture, we are going to discuss a process like this, which is always stationary and which you can see as a finite linear combination of white noise processes. So let's get into that. So I'm going to define a moving average process, something like this. So NMA1, so it can have higher order. So right now we are going to define MA1. So MA1 process is defined as follows. So let ZT be a white noise. So we know already what is the meaning of white noise process. Now consider time series xt defined as xt equal to zt plus theta zt minus 1, where zt is a white noise. So it is basically a linear combination of these zt and zt minus 1 with this as weight 1 and this as weight theta. And now consider the process xt. A couple of questions that we can ask. What is the mean of xt? So the mean of xt is 0 because the mean of these two are 0. What is the variance of xt? Well, the variance of xt is 1 plus theta square plus the covariance between these two, twice the covariance between these two. But since these are uncorrelated, the covariance is 0. So therefore, 1 plus theta square is the variance. So verification doesn't require much of a exercise. So straightforward. Now, what is the covariance between? So let's look at the covariance between this. So what we want now is to find. So we want to find covariance between xt and x say t plus 1. Now our process is, I'm going to write it here as the, so I'll write here xt. This is row 1 basically. So covariance between plus theta. This is xt plus 1, zt plus 1 plus theta zt. So what is this going to be? This is going to be the covariance between this. And this is actually because whenever these subscripts are different, this covariance is 0 because these are uncorrelated sequences. You can see that this is, and this is theta times square, and this is 0, also 0, equal to. So this is the covariance between t and t plus 1. So like that, now you can find t and t minus 1, or we go back and you get this gamma x t plus h in general is equal to, okay, let me show you one more thing before I go there, because now instead of this, if I find covariance between xt and xt plus 2, so what is this going to be? Covariance of zt plus theta zt minus 1, and xt plus 2 is zt plus 2 plus theta zt plus 1. Now when you compute the covariance, you can see that these two are different, these two are different, these two are different, and these two are different. So, which means, and this is true for all covariance between and h, where h is greater than 1. We have taken 2 here, and in fact you can also see for 3, 4, 5, 6. Now the same is the case with when h is negative, like because also here also we can say that this is also covariance between xt and xt minus 1, that you can verify, because when you write xt and xt minus 1, you make the corresponding changes here. And so what happens that this is actually true for h is equal to 1 or h equal to plus or minus 1, but h equal to 2, this is for h equal to 2, and the same is the case with h equal to minus 2. You can see that h equal to 1, this is h equal to 2 also for h equal to. So you can also see that when you compute this in general, you can see that whatever the order of the series, the correlations are significant only up to that. So let me go back and show you that. So it's like if you are talking about MA1, then the autocovariance is, this is variance, of course. We have already seen that H equal to variance. And theta sigma square is basically H equal to plus 1 or minus 1, that we have seen here, theta sigma square. And 0 if absolute of H greater than 1. This is essentially same as h equal to plus 2, plus 3, etc. h equal to minus 2, minus 3, etc. So you have only a contribution for 1. That means this covariance is actually just xt depends on xt minus 1 or xt plus 1, but not xt minus 2 or xt plus 1 in the case of a MA1 process. So you can see that for xt, expectation is finite and free from t. Variance is finite, free from t, and autocovariance is a function of time difference. Why it is a function of time difference? Because this is apparently you may not see h here, where h is the function of time difference, but h is here. So therefore, this depends on this. So therefore, the moving average process is a stationary series. Now let's look at the autocorrelation function of this. So what is autocorrelation function? So we can see that this is free from t, because it depends on only on the lag, and also, as I mentioned, it is a one dependent process. So MA1 is a one dependent process. Now if you divide by the autocovariance divided by the variance, so what was the variance? This is the variance. You divide by this quantity, you get 1 here, you get sigma square get cancelled, so you get theta upon 1 plus theta square, and 0 here. So you get the corresponding autocorrelation as 1 if h equal to 0, theta divided by 1 plus theta square if h equal to plus 1 or minus 1, and 0 if absolute greater than 1. So this, the autocorrelation function is also a function of time difference. In fact, both will be same, because autocorrelation means it's just autocovariance divided by variance. So let's look at a little more detail about this MA1 process. So notice that MA1 process, both if you write the expression for xt and xt minus 1, for example, xt is equal to zt plus theta zt minus 1, and xt minus 1 is zt minus 1 plus theta zt minus 2. So you can see that in both these equations, zt minus 1 is present. Now if theta is positive, and if you can see that, then it is likely that both xt and xt minus 1 will be large whenever zt minus 1 is large, because there is a zt minus 1 here. So if zt minus 1 is very large, you can see that these two will going to be large. So what is the meaning here is, even though ZTs are uncorrelated, this ZT series is uncorrelated because it's a white noise. But XT series is not uncorrelated; they are correlated. So the autocorrelation and hence the MA1 process remain the same. This is another thing, another observation. What we are saying is the following. So let me go back and then show you something. So let's take an MA1 process as x equal to, yeah, sorry, t plus, I'm sorry, theta is t minus 1. So if we have seen that, suppose, and we have seen that rho x h equal to theta upon 1 plus theta h 0 h greater than 1 4. So this is your rho xi. Now the claim is, so instead of this theta, suppose if I consider 1 by theta, consider 1 by theta. So what is the rho xh here? Then so you have, this is anyways free from theta, and this is now theta divided by 1 plus theta square, that changed to 1 by theta 1 plus 1 by theta equal to theta square plus 1. So 1 theta square go up and 1 theta gets cancelled. So what happens that you are going to have the same thing here, equal to plus 1 and 0 is greater. So essentially this implies the process xt equal to zt plus theta zt minus 1 and xt equal to zt plus 1 by theta zt minus 1 both are having same correlation structure. Why? Because both are having the same correlation. So the question is which one to choose. So that's where we are actually going to put conditions. So when these are same, we can see that, so which one to choose. Or consider. So here is where we put the condition that we consider the process for which it's basically the invertibility. So if your theta is greater than 1, then I will consider this one. Consider means because I want this coefficient to be less than 1. So in such a case, I go for this representation. If theta is less than 1, I go for this representation. Because both are pointing out the same covariance structure. That's a very interesting thing. So that's what this question is all about. So the autocorrelation and hence the process remain the same for theta and 1, which one to choose. So I consider the one with the invertibility condition. So for invertibility, we will restrict theta less than 1. Okay, now let's get into the next type of process. So next is MA2. Now when MA2, actually I have to write only this, but I am just introducing a constant here, just because, just to indicate that there is a difference when you introduce this. You could have introduced in the MA1 also. I didn't do that. Well, if you do that, what is going to change? The mean is going to change. That's all. Because you take expectation, these are all zero, expectation of these terms, and so you'll have a non-zero mean. So for the MA2, this is because I have defined like this. You can also define without this constant, you can define it. So for MA2, what is that expectation is mu. Variance is what? Variance is 1 plus theta 1 square plus theta 2 square into sigma square. Because of Z is 0 sigma square. Therefore, this is the variance. So now you can see that the covariance here is, this is 0. If h equal to 0, you know the covariance is gamma 0, which is given by this. And h equal to plus or minus 1, now you can see that this you need to verify. So I want you to verify this in the case of MA2 process. So what is that you need to do? You need to compute the covariance between, so this is what you need. So for MA2, consider xt. Of course, minus 2 as well as, or now you also consider covariance between xt and h for h greater than 2. So we have now what you can see, this you need to compute them. Okay, I'm not going to help because you need to compute this as xt as, write this as, maybe you can have mu or without mu. Mu will make it little more involved. So you can take z mu equal to, sorry, xt equal to mu plus zt plus theta1 zt plus theta2 zt minus. So this is my MA2 process. So for this, you substitute these fellows here, then everything will be in terms of z. So you will be able to simplify them. So this is the exercise that you need to do. Okay, take this MA2, then substitute and find out. Okay, so now let's go back. So this is what the answer that you get. I'm leaving that to you because you need to verify. These are very simple calculations. So what is that you can, once you get this, you can also find the autocorrelation function in this case, because, okay, I have given the hint here, substituting this for h equal to 1, you can derive this thing. So you can derive gamma x1 here. Gamma x1 is this. Gamma x1, gamma x minus 1 is this. Same, you will get the same. This is gamma x2, gamma x minus 2. Well, what I'm talking is here. This is what you have written, gamma 1, minus x, right or not, refer to. This is required when you specify which x that you are talking about. So if that is not there, it's fine. Because now we are talking about this x, so it is very clear. So if you don't write x, so this is what you are going to get, the covariance, which you are going to verify. I'm giving the hints here. So based on that, you should verify. So what is that? You can see that the covariance of order h for h greater than 2 is going to be 0. Covariance of order h For h equal to -3, -4, etc., these are all going to be 0. H equal to +3, +4, etc., these are all going to be 0. So when you divide by the variance, you get the autocorrelation. So for an MA2 process, the autocorrelation function turns out to be this. This is the variance, so I'm just dividing this by this. So it's very clear here. You have already computed this quantity, you divide by this. So when you divide by this, you get 1 here. So that is no, because h equal to 0, the correlation has to be 1. You divide by that quantity, sigma square get cancels. So theta 1 into 1 plus theta 2 upon 1 plus theta square plus theta 2 square. Clearly, here this quantity theta 2 upon 1 plus. That's what here. So this is the autocorrelation function. You don't have any term for h equal to 3 or h equal to 3, h equal to 4, h equal to -4, because that are all going to be 0. So that's what absolute of h greater than 2 is going to be. So an MA2 process is a 2 dependent process because it depends on xt depends on xt minus 1 and xt minus 2, not xt minus. Similarly, xt depend on xt plus 1 and xt plus 2. Depend means non-zero correlation as a process. Now, when you have data, this dependence doesn't have much of meaning. Okay. So note that ACF of MA2 is cut after lag 2. What happens? So now I want you to show the series and the corresponding ACF. So look at this. This is your MA1. This is the generated data with an MA1 coefficient, some theta 1, and this is MA2, and this is MA3. I've chosen some values. So you have this is MA3. You can see that this is how it behaves. So you can see that all of them are stationary. Even though there is a change happening, you can see that they are stationary. So now look at the ACF of that. So for MA1, it cuts off after lag 1. This is for the model, not for the data. This is for data. This is for the model. So model means it's like formula. So because you can see that it cuts off for MA1. See, yeah, only there is a contribution at +1. Because -1 we are not drawing because it's the same. So we are drawing when you plot the ACF function. So for 2 onwards it is 0, and that's what I have seen. I have shown here. So you can see that only one of them. For MA2, 2 of them are there. Now whether it is going up or whether it is going down depend on what coefficient that you have. If theta 1 and theta 2 depending on that. Similarly, this is MA3. So you'll have 3 lines. Now I have chosen all the three theta as positive, so it has gone up. If you've chosen some of them negative, you may get this side also. Now, at the same time, the PACF of this is, we already seen the PACF of MA calculation. You remember PACF of MA1 we have calculated, and we have seen that it's not going to 0. Of course, ultimately it tends to 0, but not with few initial lags. So you can see that there is a contribution of that. But there is a contribution in the MA2 case, and this MA3 also you have contributions in model, not for the data. So this is for the model. Okay. Now, if you see, I just want you to see some pictures. Like for example, if I have 0.5 and minus 0.5, see that the MA process is like this. So this has much more zigzags as compared to the 100 observation. So this is MA series with the 0.5 and theta minus 0.5. So where it actually concentrates, etc. So this theta plays a role in shaping. But then in both these cases, you have stationary series. Now, in the same way, one can define an MAQ process. So what is an MAQ? Simply extend this with mu or without mu. So you can say that with mu means it will have a non-zero mean. Without mu means it will have a zero mean. So this is what for any Q one can define an MAQ process like this. Now the notation that we adopt is this, where this quantity is a operator B, the backshift operator. So you have actually 1 plus theta 1b theta 2b theta q b to the power of q. These brackets are not required. Theta 1b, theta 2b, etc., theta qb to the power of q. So then you have this theta b is a polynomial b of degree q. So you can see that It's operating on ZT. So when you operate 1 on ZT, you get ZT. When you operate B on ZT, you get ZT minus on ZT. When you operate B to the power of Q on ZT minus Q is this. See, these two notations are, that's why I told you that I will remove this, because don't get confused. This is actually to denote a polynomial like this. So this is the notation for this. It's just a notation. Eta B indicates a Qth degree polynomial in B. Okay, and we say Q is the order of that process, 1 plus theta. So the autocorrelation of MAQ process. So this is something like this. Let me write it for you if you have a confusion. So MAQ is xt equal to zt plus theta 1 z1 plus x plus theta. This we can write it as 1 plus theta zt. Because zt, this is zt, b of zt is zt minus. And this quantity denote as polynomial equation. So this is just a notation. Notation for what? For qth degree. What is that polynomial? It is given here. 1 plus theta 1b plus so polynomial. Okay. So this is what you have here. So the autocorrelation will depend on Q lags, and so it is a Q dependent series. POCF is not very conclusive in this case, because you have seen that you can't make any conclusion about POCF. It is like several of them are significant, several of them are, I mean, like depend down, etc. But whereas this clearly cut off. So this moral of the story is that you can use ACF to decide whether it is an MA processor. Okay. So the fact is, MA series of any finite order is always stationary. We have seen that this is always stationary. For an MAQ model, the Q autocorrelations of will be non-zero, while Q plus jth autocorrelation will be 0 for all j greater than. This the ACF cutoff after lag Q, and for an MAQ model, the partial autocorrelations decay slowly. This is what we have seen. The partial autocorrelation decay very slowly, whereas this cutoff exactly at the lag of the order. Like if MA3, it's cut off after 3. If MA2, it's cut off after 2. MA1, it's cut off after 2. Now, whether it is going up or whether it is coming down, that depends on the coefficient sign. So here I have taken all of them positive to draw this, but that need not be. It could be negative as well. Okay, so these are the facts. So you can see that. So this is MA5. So 5 of them are present. 2, 5. So here I have taken some of them to be. They are negative. These two are positive. So you get. This is of course with 0, lag 0. Now you can't conclude anything from the PACF of a process, but ACF of MA process is very conclusive. You can decide the order of the process. So here are some questions which you should start asking now. See, what we have seen, a linear combination of white noise. The question is, can we construct stationary processes by taking linear combinations of white noise? Yes, we have taken finite linear combinations. Now, even if you keep on increasing it, will you get a white noise process? Now, will you get a stationary process? Now, what are the conditions on the coefficients? So I'm talking about situations like this, that I'll consider summation ai zt minus I, say I equal to 1 to n, and I would like to consider, let me just change this notation. I want to consider. So this is called a linear process. So this is both. I mean, these are linear processes, and what are the properties? So this we will see in the next videos. What are the properties? Are they stationarity? Are they stationary? Mean, variance, the correlation of this process. You would like to investigate. So the question is that, well, you see, you are going up to infinity. So there is a question of convergence of this series. So that's where you need to. So can infinite linear combination be stationary under what condition? Okay, thank you.